Retail Week is brought to you by Nutrisphere N, Nitrogen Fertilizer Manager, protecting your nitrogen from all three forms of loss. Welcome again to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. It's Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj. Once again, after doing some travel, I got to go to Columbus for a day. It happened to be the day that you were recording Retail Week, so I couldn't be with everyone last week. But went down to see John Fulton at Ohio State, and he, some of his a student and some folks at the Ohio Farm Science Review came up with an idea to analyze and gather data on one single corn plant.
Wow.
So basically, from seed all the way to the bitter end of harvest, they're going to collect as much data as they can and try to set a world record for data collected on a single plant. And that's it's an interesting and compelling, I think, journey for the summer to be following. But I think the other thing is really interesting is they're going to be able to take the data and look at it in a lot of different ways. They're going to be, in terms of what they collect and how they collect it. It's going to include weather, it's going to include soil, planting depth, really taking every aspect of the corn plant and trying to figure out how the different variables interact, and there should be some really cool learnings out of this. It's not just kind of a Guinness Book of World Records thing, but it actually has some real solid appeal in terms of the kinds of agronomy things that come out of what they find out.
Do we have a date when this information might be made available to folks?
They're going to make it available throughout. If you go to actually on Facebook and social media is how they're going to get a lot of that information out. But if you go to the Ohio State Precision Ag team, the updates are there. I get to take some pictures and just kind of go over some of the things. They've got a webcam it's not a webcam, but it's a camera and time lapse. It's taking an image every so often, and they'll be continuing to show images throughout. We're just hoping there's no unfortunate hailstorms or anything like that that happen to just take out our little friend. But otherwise, assuming all goes well, it should be interesting to see what comes out of that data-wise.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was a fun trip.
All right.
Over the 9+ years, they've done over 400 trials, side-by-side replicated trials, and we've shown that 90% of the time we've had a positive yield response with Nutrisphere. So 90% of the time a crop producer out of those 400+ trials could expect a positive response. That positive response is average 10 bushel an acre across all 400+ trials.
How about you?
All
You've
right.
been gone too.
I've been gone too. Yeah, actually, this week while we're recording this was the formal opening of the new AGCO Asmark Applicator Training Center in Bloomington, Illinois. Very nice facility, Paul. They've got a nice little obstacle course that the applicators can drive their Rogators, John Deere's, cases. They had all the units represented there. Through the course and go over railroad tracks, learn how to bring the booms in, move around trees, get by telephone poles, and go over what they call a Cadillac bridge, which is incredibly narrow, over a ditch. I know I was very nervous at that stage of the tour, and that was the last stage, I may add. So a little heart in the throat, but other than that. Looks like it'll be a nice center for folks to get information. And here is Greg Yoder, who is the lead instructor, talking a little bit about what the training course will be trying to accomplish with the applicator students it gets.
Okay, well, we're trying to train professional applicators. You can't throw I guess I want to say a newbie into a $500,000 rig and expect them to learn how to run it in 45 minutes. So we're offering a 3.5-day course to learn how to run the sprayers, learn professional application, read labels, read safety data sheets, and just in all maintain a professional. It's not a job like it used to be, I guess I want to say, and maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but it's very precise application anymore. We've got pesticides that go to 1/4 ounce per acre, and it just makes a big difference on how these guys learn to do this stuff. So that's what we're going to try and teach them. So And hopefully with my years of experience, I can help out on that. And that's my goal. So
that's what Greg had to say about the Applicator Training Center. It's limited to about 19 or 20 students per session. Sessions tend to last 4 days. But if you're interested, visit the Asmark Institute website and you can find out more information about taking part in one of the classes.
Cool. So did you get to actually drive one?
Did not get to drive one, and I'm very glad for that. Like I said, some of the inclines we were going by, and you know, the trees you had to maneuver through and around, they're getting pretty smacking the booms pretty good. So I'm sure I would have probably taken out a whole boom arm if I had been driving. So I was just as glad not to drive in this case. You know, ride and drive at Maggie on a flat surface, fine. Through trees and up inclines, not so much. The only other thing to share with our viewers this week is I know we talked about a while back the Bayer and Monsanto deal. Looks like those companies are going to be exploring the opportunity to divest some product lines and assets so that they can get regulatory approval. And we found out this week, Paul, that BASF is one of the companies lining up to make a bid on those assets. And also Syngenta, since they're a little further along with their merger with ChemChina, looks like they may be stepping in and maybe getting LibertyLink or Ignite into their product lineup. So this is a developing story. Keep paying attention to us over the next couple of weeks and months, and we'll tell you what we know.
Interesting. And Dow DuPont is set to wrap up in late July.
Yeah, late July, although we're hearing that, you know, it could happen in late July, but that one's one of those that there's some scuttlebutt regarding the company now splitting into 6 parts instead of 3 when it gets together, based on some shareholder information that may or may not be accurate. So we'll have to see, but again, as we find out information, we'll share with you.
Lots to watch. So with that, we'll leave you. That's it for this edition of Crop Life Retail Week, and we will see you next week. Thank you to this week's video sponsor, Nutrisphere N Fertilizer Manager from Verdesian Life Sciences.